This one's gonna be a pretty chill stream, just building. So if that's not something you're into, don't stick around. Let's see, that's 5 out from here. Just use dirt. But I'm gonna use that. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4. I still haven't been able to find a Darklands bio, even with a nature's compass, so gonna have to improvise a little bit on this block coloration thing. Fortunately, there's Darklands doors that I was able to find inside the like the stronghold in that other bio. So that's another 3 over. Yeah, 3. And then here. Okay, so that's the basic frame. Let's grab the default darkstone. A lot of this is craftable, by the way. You don't have to actually find a Darklands biome to get this stuff. You can just turn stone into darkstone. It's like this. It's very similar to like the shulk material. Oh, I should probably open that up. Chat. Here we go. Let's turn that down just a little bit. There we go. This is Stargazing with Murderous Intent by Liam Vickers Entertainment. He has quite a few good themes on there for his various characters. He does animation and storyboarding mostly, but actually, come to think of it, I don't know who actually made his music. I don't know if he did it. Please tell me there's enough darkstone. I have plenty more, but turned most of it into bricks. Crap. I don't think this is enough. I think I need another one. Do I have dark oak wood? I don't think I have dark oak wood. I don't think I have furniture ideas. I guess stairs. What's a good stair to use? Mossy scorn and brick stair. Well, that's Bewitchment. I can't even make that. Ooh, basalt brick stairs. It's kind of got like a wooden texture. I already have a bunch of basalt. Okay, that might work. I'm gonna need a lot more than that. Okay. Oh, I don't know about that one. Yeah, let's have the glowing ones over here be on this side here. I'll have one here. You know, come to think of it, I don't actually know how bright those are. I have night vision, so it's really hard to tell in game. Oh, this isn't all claimed. Shoot. There we go. The land claims effects are pretty much gone. Maybe it's cosmetic, but it's still important to know who actually owns everything. Oh boy, the light's flickering. I'm gonna go turn that off. That is a wonderful sign. I'm sure that doesn't bode poorly at all. Fortunately, I'm on a laptop, so if power goes out, I'm not actually like instantly dead. But the stream probably will be. Oh wait, no, this is supposed to go up like 2 blocks and a half. No, that's separate. But I do need stairs. Let's make a shitload of stairs. Let's push this off for a second. Actually make boxes. Yeah, so despite having sand in the name and having the same sound effects, these things don't fall, which is nice. But they also don't grow, so that you can't just like plop down a bunch of the sand. You have to actually silk touch every block. Actually, I don't need that there. I need 3 blocks to the right and then diagonal leading to here, so. Oh wait, then I actually have to have the internal part of that. So that's 2 blocks in and 1 block up. So here. Yeah, I never managed to get my hands on a Silk Touch shovel. So, yeah. Kind of hoping Mira has one, because that'll save me a ton of time. I gathered all this using a pickaxe. Not as slow as you'd think, but still annoying. Alright, so how high is the outside wall going to be? An additional 3 above the staircase. And this is universal. Is that just me, or did that pupil move? Okay. So up 3 blocks. That goes across. This is the main entrance. With. Wait. No, these are stairs. too sure on those ones. I think I'll move them further towards the door, like right here on the joint. Let's have one directly opposite door. Actually, no, this is going to be on a platform. Right. Raised back. So these need to be raised up one. And we'll raise this one too. Actually, what do I want the stage to be? I can make it curve out. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. I'll mark it with. We'll do it here. I definitely should have stolen this from, like, what block this was from that other church. I actually don't know where it was. Like, it was podium? No, the lectern. No. I have a feeling it's from Bewitchment. Yeah, sigil table. There we go. Okay. And I can't grab that. What do I need to craft one of these? Okay, I could theoretically make one of those. What about the, actually there's another thing, electro blobs. So we get the, oh no, it's Electron, but you stick a spellbook in it. Yeah, the Wizard's Handbook. Okay. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, I could do one of those. I'll have to get some dark oak, though, to get the matching color. Use that to make, like, a throne, too. Maybe? Or just have Electron? I think just Electron would be fine. Anyway. I need to get some plants. Not even sure what plants I'll go for, but I need some walls. Oh boy, those are fences. Good enough? Maybe. Kinda have to be. Anyway. Can I make you into walls? No. Let me see the obsidian variants. They're a good one here. Ruined obsidian brick. Okay, so I can just chisel that? Maybe. No, I need fake crafting. Shit. That's not something I can do. Oh, I didn't know these were craftable. Those are not good. Like, look at the max tier. That's 5 and 2. 5 and 4. Thing is, I feel like just like with the marble tower, that this doesn't have the color definition I'm looking for. What about rods? We haven't actually visited the end yet. We're putting that off. Pillar. Well, I don't have blood magic, so that's out. Don't have Thaumcraft. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, I can get those. What else can I? Can I craft stairs out of those? No. I could use framed blocks to make those into stairs. Ooh. That looks like a useful decoration block, too. Yeah, regrettably, I don't have the energies for that. Okay. I'll place the higher up with it. Okay, get a lectern, wizard's handbook. Ow. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 2, 3, 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That was very rude of you. Alright, to bed I go. Wait. Oh, okay, so that's just a scam. Damn it. Some asshole pretending to be Mr. Beast. Would have loved to get contact with Mr. Beast. That would have been great. What did I come down here for? Sleep. Just sleep, yeah. Actually, I need some close to I specifically need 7 blocks. And a chisel. And a bunch of chisels. Need a panel. Oh. Where's my glass? Hey. Wait. I'm gonna have to lower that one. No. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sort of what? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 5, 6, 9, 10. It's the wrong one. And I'll have to chisel down. Maybe I could use the void tile? How expensive are these again? I still don't have access to purple. Okay, so that's obsidian, which right now is pretty much free. It costs a netherrack to make an obsidian. And the eyes. I really need contrast. Alright, fine. Oh, probably leave us all behind. Oh, I forgot about you. Now let's raise. And I like it. I wish this was like one wider now, but it's kind of too late for that. Okay. They'd get mad at me if I just went to the end by myself for purple blocks. I just know it. Okay. What do we have? 14 blaze powder. I know we have tons of pearls, so that's not an issue. How's this going? Yeah, you could use some. Cool. That is not nearly enough. The annoying thing is, while purple is later stage in the game, this is way more expensive. At any rate, that's not really gonna serve my purposes, but I can test the visuals to make sure this is right. Just make sure I grab the right one. It's probably that one, right? Metallic kind of sucks. And a lot of these don't tile right. Oh, you know, I could use the runic ones to break up the shape of everything. Yeah. How many of these are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15? That doesn't sound right. That's what the counting says. Oh, there's not 16, but okay, 15. That's 7 of each. Okay. How to divide this? Okay, so I need to make this divisible by 7, so 56. Right? This is, yeah, it's 16, so then, boom, alright. Let's do you, then you, then you, then you. So that's 5, 5, 6, 7. Nope. So last one I did was pink. Yeah, so lime, yellow, light blue, magenta, brown, green, red, and black. Alright. Let's see, I'll leave sitting in there for now. Yeah, I don't really see these coming in handy very much. So we'll use these to break up the walls. I need the pickaxe. Let's just do all of one color. And then go on next. Okay. Oh. Trying to figure out how dense I want these to be. I've probably figured out exactly how high these walls are going on the inside. Cells slanted starting. I'll get back to that. But I do think this is a massive improvement. Let's see about the outside. A little less. A little less of an improvement. Probably have to do a second pass when I come out as well. But that could be. Also, for some reason, this negs my jump. My extra jump. Oh. I guess the stairs start right here. Yeah, right there. Of course, that's the one time the game closes immediately upon me pressing X instead of requiring like 10 minutes and like 3 different confirmations. Rebooting. I'll take this opportunity to change music here. As much as I like this, it's only 20 minutes looping here. Oh wow, that some serious lag. No, I don't have any viewers yet. I don't really mind streaming to nobody when it's something like this. It's not lore. It's just me enjoying my time. Come on. Now, this is normally filled with music, but all the music I'm seeing here is copyrighted. Um, Come on. YouTube. I have a decent amount of time because the freaking loading time on this mod pack is 12 years. Not actually that long. It's a minute. You know what? I'm going back to a classic. Let's get some Mulgara boss meat. There's a remix that I remember. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. Hopefully this doesn't murder my ears. Come on. Oh, there it is. I actually forgot how good this remix was. It's been a while since I've heard it. Where was I? Oh yeah. I was working on getting a block for the pillars. That's right. You know, let's just make more void stone. Another variant. Stay. seal up the back here. Oh, those are still stairs. Ow. God, who made this remix? Is it just the one? Yeah, it is. Yeah. Ow. This part here always reminded me of Red Dwarf. Should be 3 more breaks in there. Memory serves. Six there. 6. There's one here. That did not hurt for some reason. Let's go for something a little different. Let's go for... yeah. Oh, so typical me. It's so ironic when the medicine is toxic, toxic. You broke into my head, so I tossed the key and locked in, locked in, locked in, locked in. Empty pages, unexplained days is oh so typical me. Enemy faces look the safest, oh so typical me. Oh, so typical me. My dark mind undermines every time we build up, every time. Trying to survive in the older world we kill. Oh, the God keeps looking at me, staring from the air. Staring from the air. Janice, can't you cure me of my indecision fever? Empty pages, unexplained days is oh so typical me. Enemy faces look the safest, oh so typical me. Oh so typical me. Antagonist, protagonist, become the one the same. So how do I survive when the war is on my brain? See, listen here, you better shut me down. You better lock me up, or he'll be wearing my crown. I don't wanna fall. No, I don't wanna fall. Pages are empty, so empty from breakage. Please help me, or I'll go where I feel the safest. I don't know. No. Oh, so typical me. That was Typical Me by Crow, K-R-O-H. Love the guy. Alright, let's go with... I'll just do more sing-along. I enjoy it. Take me out to the stars, take me out to the view. Come and dance in the sky, have no idea where we're headed to. Baby, come with me, summer will be free in this infinite blue. Where the singularity and gravity can't hold us down, and I'm with you. Whoa, you lift me up, you take me high, and make me wanna kiss the sky. So take a chance and travel farther than the stratosphere. Just look around at what we found and say we've only just begun. So close your eyes in 3, 2, 1. 'cause I don't care. We never reach a planet, I don't care. If we never touch the ground, it's not about the final destination. All I want is a life with you around. Should be easier from the other side. Ow. It's not helping me. Could just reverse engineer this.
Let's go somewhere far away. Keep me on your wavelength on our own continuum. Let our odyssey begin. Take me where the view is clear. Up where the air is thinner. I'm your astronaut and you're my oxygen. Oh, you lift me up, you take me high. You're with me every day and night. With you I'm always flying through.
Oh, that's clearly wrong.
Just look around at what we found. You say we've only just begun. So close your eyes and 3, 2, 1. 'Cause I don't care if we never reach a planet. I don't care if we never
So
touch
that's
the ground.
there.
It's not about a final destination. All I want is
And then one for
with
this.
you around. Take me up to the stars, take me up to the view. Come and dance in the sky with no idea where we're headed to. Take a walk on the
Ah,
sun, living on the moon.
not supposed to be using that.
Where we go, just let me get lost in space with you. I wanna, yeah, I wanna,
Alright.
I wanna see the stars. Take a walk on the sun, live a day on the moon. 'Cause I don't care where we go, just let me get lost in space with you.
Yeah, I think I'm stacking that. And more, actually. That's annoying. I'll make it up with that. That's fine. Let's go. Oh, you know what I haven't listened to in a long time? Risk of Rain OST. Comment here.
Hello everybody, this is Chris. I wrote the music for Risk of Rain, and I'm going to do a little track-by-track commentary for you guys. The idea is I'm going to have the soundtrack playing in the background, and I'm just gonna talk over it, discuss, you know, the atmosphere, how it came about with it, the instrumentation, maybe the main themes, and the harmony and all that stuff, and maybe a little bit about the tools that I used. And you know,
Oh, I
just
think it underside of these.
whatever trivia that might come up about each track. So let's begin.
Dirt.
So this is the first track. It's called Risk of Rain.
Actually, we
And
don't have to show.
as you can imagine, I didn't have to think too hard about the title. It's the first thing I wrote. What's interesting about it is that you can basically trace back to this track most of the material that is spread throughout the entire soundtrack. So, you know, like the main themes here, chord progressions that are reused over and over, they're here. A lot of the most basic instrumentation is here. So this was, for me, sort of really like the foundation of the entire soundtrack. You know, it really made like a template of sorts of how the soundtrack would be laid out in the coming tracks. This was written before the Kickstarter, and the feedback that I had was, you know, that we would also need something more action-packed, because the game, you know, is action-packed. It's about shooting, it's about, you know, surviving in a hostile planet, so we need something more intense. We ended up using this in the menus. As you can see, here is a really ambient track, slow-paced, and just for me, it just sets this atmosphere. The inspiration behind it was basically not so much the gameplay of the game, but the colors of it. Because if you look at the game, the color palette, all those purples, a lot of pastel colors, that's how it came about with the sound. You know, it really felt like this is a dark game we need to portray. Besides the all fun and game stuff, you know, we should really portray the alienation, the being stranded in a hostile planet and all that. So that's how this sort of you know, dark sound came up, and I tried to maintain it throughout the entire soundtrack.
Oh, is it night?
So this is the second track. It's called Viewpoint, and it's actually the second thing that I wrote for the game. Of course, as you can hear, it's a bit more fast-paced. What I really thought about the soundtrack is that I would really want to explore a little bit more of my musical background when I was a bit younger, because I studied classical music for quite a long time. But, you know, when I was younger, I was playing in rock bands, like I was playing keyboards, drums, and stuff like that. So I really wanted to have this kind of rock feeling and prog rock feeling. So this is a song that is really inspired by the prog sound of the 70s. You know, you can imagine the psychedelic prog sound, maybe like Ozric Tentacles, stuff like that. And for any musical geeks out there, and I mean that very lovingly as I am myself one, you can probably count that this is on a 5/4 time signature instead of like the common 4/4 one.
I always wonder about that.
We can hear also the first real touch of chiptune sounds in this song. There are chiptune sounds in the previous one, in Risk of Rain, but they were added after, quite later, you know. It was not in the first version, there was no chiptunes. And the first solo of the soundtrack. What I really loved about the soundtrack is that I got to play a lot of stuff. I got to perform a lot of stuff. I got to pick up my guitar, sit on my keyboard, play my bass, and I really love that. That's a rare thing to do. You know, when working on film music and game music, there's a lot of programming involved, a lot of MIDI editing. If you're working on a tracker, it's even, you know, you don't even see notes, you just see, you know, letters and hex code or whatever. So it was extremely fun for me to sit down and play things. All of the solos, all of the electric basses, a lot of the keyboards, you know, they're really actual live performances that have very minimal post-editing. And that's extremely fun. It was extremely fun to do. I was really lucky to get to do that. But yeah, I was talking also about the chiptunes. Of course, as you can imagine, looking at a game like Risk of Rain, which is like a pixel art game, chiptunes is obviously the first thing that will come to mind about building its sound. But the guys, Hopu, contacted me because they had listened to another soundtrack I created before that for a game called Droidscape Basilica. And that soundtrack was really like a dark electronic sort of thing that had nothing to do with chiptunes also. That was my clue that, you know, we're not looking for a chiptune artist. We're not looking for that particular sound. We're more interested in what you will come up with. Although I did end up using a lot of chiptune sounds and samples, it's not the foundation of the soundtrack. It's just a coloring thing on top of it. So, this is Tropic of Capricorn. This track ended up becoming a little bit of a drum and bass, a little bit of a breakbeat. You can listen to the main theme of the album. These 4 notes, bum 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 bum. This thing is used throughout the entire thing extensively and in different variations. Sometimes it's reversed, mirrored. That's basically really how I tend to work with music, especially for albums that are, concept albums. Like a soundtrack of a game, it should have this sort of unity, as far as I'm concerned. So I like to take just a few themes and use them over and over again in different variations, and that really, for me, creates this unity. It makes it, one thing instead of just separate tracks that are playing in the background. What's interesting about this track, that it basically shows that I just couldn't resist myself, because you have this breakbeaty thing, and it just segues into a rock solo, which comes basically out of nowhere. It's not really a solo, it's just a repetition of the main melody, but still, it's a rock part and a rock transposition here. I just couldn't help it, I was having so much fun playing with these tracks that I just wanted to add something like that. And if you listen to that little effect just now, that's one of the things that I used throughout the soundtrack very extensively. A lot of the tracks have it, even as a sound shaping effect. Sometimes it's not very obvious, but it's called a bit crusher, and if you're not familiar with it, it's basically an effect that takes a sound and reduces its resolution, its fidelity. It makes it sound as if it's coming from an old coin-op or NES or whatever lo-fi source. You can tweak it to your likings, of course. And here's Monsoon.
Monsoon is probably my favorite track that you'll just hear continuously.
I don't know if anybody has caught up with this, but it's called Monsoon because of those tablas that are playing.
Like Coalescence is my favorite, but you only hear that on the final stage, which you don't hear.
Rain
You don't visit more than once.
I thought, hey, I'm using the tabla, I'm using a little bit of sitar at some point. It's really in the background, it's not really noticeable, it's just a color thing. But still, let's call this Monsoon. It's funny that the hardest difficulty in the game is also called Monsoon. That's something that we hadn't really planned, but it's a nice coincidence. And here's what I call the theremin part.
I'd be like turning down. Definitely gonna need to put more above.
Monsoon was the third track that I wrote for the Kickstarter, and
Yeah, I'm gonna need more.
it's safe to say that it's the most loved track from the soundtrack. A lot of people really just dig this. And here's the main theme again, and it's reversal.
Main theme. Reversal. Down.
And that scratchy thing that you just listened to, it's coming from Omnisphere, Spectrasonics Omnisphere. If you're a musician writing, electronic music or writing in a computer, you've probably heard of it. It's one of the most commonly used synthesizers out there. It's an all-around hybrid of synth that is you can use it to create your own sounds based on the common waveform, sine waves, square waves, etc. But it also has an extensive library of samples and patches that you can use, and it's used really heavily throughout the soundtrack. There are many patches.
I need more Corralio.
The thing is, I'm rarely using a default patch, out of the box. I'm usually taking the patch and I'm manipulating in a way that I shape it into my own, style and needs. And that's something that I really
edit all of my
recommend,
instruments.
to anyone working with music. Just don't use the presets, Just do a little bit of tweaking. It's part of the creative process also. Music is not just about,
1 second. SoundCloud. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but as part of my practice for making odd instruments, I challenged myself to recreate as best as I could, since I couldn't get that goddamn bell right. Roar of the Jungle Dragon using just one piano that I can modify into whatever I want. And it's one of the default pianos. That is loud. Ah! Oi! Asura, you're a dick. He doesn't follow you through the portal. Thing is, once you kill him the first time, he can just spawn as a normal enemy. He's weaker, but he also doesn't drop anything good. You're getting the shit side on both sides. Because he can still fly through walls, he can still give you the Paralium Plague, fuck. Well, that is very unfortunate. I'm not gonna be able to make it up that. I can't double jump. I haven't actually listened to this in a while. No! Saved it. Oh, it was gonna hurt. Okay. And then cobblestone. Let's get 12 sticks. That sounds good. Oh, that's not claimed either. Snap that. How much land claim do I have? I have another 150 I can grab, yeah. Well, let's snag that area out there that has the farm. We'll snag the rest of this top area. Anyway, I gotta spend a bunch of time making more dark stone, so in that time... the walls have suddenly got taller. Oh, no, that's it. There. You're burning and took 20 damage from me, and you still had enough health to light me on fire. Yeah. Like, how long have I been letting that run? Oh, shoot.
Part of the instrumentation, the color that you pick is a really important choice. And this is Cyclogenesis. It was written before the Kickstarter. It was written almost together with Viewpoint. I was sort of writing them in parallel. But we didn't end up using it in the Kickstarter because it actually got rejected from Hopu. They felt
What?
It's a little bit too ambiguous, I guess. Too much of a dark, maybe non-specific sound or atmosphere.
Non-specific. This
Yes,
is like a
it's, because of those augmented
graveyard
chords
kind of
that
thing.
are just too open, you know, they don't lead anywhere. But interestingly enough, after a while, I got an email from the guys and said, you know, the tracks had been sitting in our shared folder in our Dropbox for a while, and I got an email from them saying, you know what, we just grown into the track. We want to use it. Let's do it. Let's make a proper track out of it. And here's where the payback is for those open chords. You know, you get into this really structured, harmony-wise progression with the solo on top of it, which, of course, it's because I just couldn't help myself. I wanted to play the solo. It's really
a little bit
one
overboard
of the
making
rare
my
times that in the soundtrack you get
too.
a proper harmonic cadence. If that sounds confusing to you, if you're not familiar with the term, it's just like when in music you have a complete sentence in your harmony and melody. So it, you know, it has like a beginning, middle part, and an end. And this is one of the rare occasions in the soundtrack that you get this sort of resolution in this solo. I also want to point out that all of the solos, well, not all of them, but most of the solos in the soundtrack, they're not guitars. They are, a lot of people think, you know, or comment, you know, on YouTube and stuff, they say, I love this guitar solo, I like this guitar solo. There's hardly any guitar solo, guys. Most of the things are a lead patch that I created in Omnisphere using a sine wave and passing it through, you know, many amps and effects and delays, and that's how it's created. So it's a keyboard solo, basically. And we're listening to 25.3 north, 91.7 east. As you can imagine, these coordinates are nothing but random. Or if you couldn't imagine it, well, now you know that they're not. There have been some people that figured it out, why it's named like that. I'm not gonna say. It's not a big deal to find out, but I still like it when people send me a comment and say, you know, I get it. I know what you did there. And here's actually a part that a real guitar plays. Again, the melody, the main theme of the game. Those 4 notes. Might be interesting for you guys to know that this little thingy that does this wee 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 on the background, it's actually a guitar coming
long
through
is this?
guitar rig and a pitch shifter effect that is automated to do this kind of bend all the time, and it's just, you know, playing one note, changing based on the harmony, but it's just one single note that just does the bending on its own. Another detail about this track is that it's written in 11/8. That's a quite complex time signature. It's made out of 2 different, basically, time signatures, a 5 and a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. And the 5, of course, is also a complex time signature. So it's made out of 2 and a 3, but that's, you know, I'm getting into way too geeky stuff now. Right now, I should shut up.
No, keep talking.
The original version of this track was just the background thing, actually. And then I thought, okay, there's something missing. And I thought, wow, I haven't put any melody. I just have like some chord progressions going on. So yeah, I added the main theme to it at some point. I did have the idea, because of that, to release this track without the solo, without the melody on top, and have people jam to it and send it to me and see what they can come up with. Another thing about this track is I think I would call it the most happy sounding one of the lot. It's not really a dark track, you know. It's kind of it has a more cheerful sound to it. So I'm gonna shut up for just a little bit because I don't know what else to say about this thing. Have a sip of coffee and get back to you. You can listen to the clap track here. It's a nice patch I found from Cinematic Instruments. I've used this quite a bit. I also use it on Hailstorm, that's coming up next. If you really, notice, you might hear it in the background. It's a nice thing because it has very natural sounding claps that you can basically program, and they play on their own. You create patterns as a drum, like in a drum machine, and it's really nice and easy to work with. So Hailstorm.
Just listen to that sound. Oh.
This one, it was really an experiment. What you're listening to right now is all generated by the drum track. Everything at the moment, there's nothing that doesn't come out of the drum track. Even those organ-like sounds and the distorted, bassy guitars, they're coming from the bass drums and the snares and the cymbals. And what I did is, because at the moment I was really, I was halfway through, I was sort of getting a little bit tired. And when I started writing this, I didn't have too much inspiration, you might say. So I thought, okay, let's do a little experiment to boost up creativity. Now it's not just drums anymore, it's other stuff. But, like the core of the track, the thing you were listening to before, that was just drums. And this is how I did it. I laid down the drum track, and then I used the vocoder on it. So I used a different vocoder on the bass, on the kick drum, and a different one on the snares, and a different one on the cymbals. And I don't know if you know how vocoder works, but basically it gets a sound and it transforms it into another sound based on the notes that you input into the vocoder. So you input some chords or a melody. It's commonly used on voices. But it's also sometimes it's used on. You can be used on anything anything you want if you're feeling crazy enough. But drums is not uncommon to be used on drums. So I thought, okay, let's do that. Let's build a track like that. And so that's how Hailstorm came about. Just laying some drum beats and then building on that. And mostly deficits. This track was the first time that I used a real guitar on the album. Again, the main theme.
Ah!
I was really hesitant about sending this track to Hopu because I thought, what is this? Is like a kind of western vibey thingy with this James Bond type of guitars creating the harmony. But they loved it, and that was really opening the door to all sorts of guitar stuff throughout the album. In Hailstorm before, is one of the extremist guitar parts. It's really on the background. It's not like a solo or something, but I've just had the guitar in my hands and basically just abusing it, hitting it, and I passed that through all sort of choppers and bit crushers and auto pans and distortions, saturations, and there's like a really active thingy going on left and right, a bit hectic, just adding to the whole, you know, action atmosphere. Well, I guess I should have commented it on way back then when we were listening to it, but you know, this is just an improv commentary, so you have to forgive me about that. So moisture deficit, that's until here, that was the part that I sent to Hopu. That was the demo that I sent to Hopu and say, what about this, you know? Just testing the waters. And it turned out the water was just the right temperature, so I dived in. But the thing is, I wasn't really happy with how the track was in relationship to the rest of the soundtrack. I felt it was like a really separate piece. So beside this I can't help myself solo part, another motive that felt also that was I wanted to tie in another track also with the soundtrack. So I laid this xylophone. If you have heard of the soundtrack before, you might recognize that this is the main theme of Surface Tension, which was another track that I felt it's a little bit out of place with the entire thing. So I thought, okay, let's bring them together. Moisture Deficit has the main themes of the soundtrack in its core melody, but you know, let's tie these two together and make it all one thing. And so that's what I did. Hopefully it worked. I don't know. When listening to it now, I feel that it is part of the thing. I don't feel it's out of place anymore. It's also because I've added some pads that can be heard in other parts of the soundtrack too. This breathy thing that you listen to now. In the game, the track ends up quicker than this. It doesn't have this long fade out with this reverb added to it. What I wanted to do is, when I was creating the album, the actual album, I spent a lot of time figuring out, you know, what comes after what, basically, the order of the tracks. At this point, Moisture Deficit was really the midpoint. So I just created this long tail with this reverb that creates the sense of that the music is just leaving. You know, it's just taking a break. Let's take a break, basically. That's what it says. And then, as if to say, we're back. We have a fast-paced song, Tropic of Cancer.
I don't have a show.
If you listen to the riff, it's
Oh,
basically
right.
the main theme, and the melody is the reversal of the main theme. Again, I'm just using these stuff over and over. You know, I'm trying to basically experiment. Even my background, my filler stuff. You know, the ambience behind the main thing, it is also the main theme. And this melody here is actually what we've just heard before in Moisture Deficits. Just in a slightly different harmonic setting.
It's not even done yet.
So if you listen to this,
Oh, I might have to make that
background
taller.
that is doing this
A little bit.
this,
Because I'm reworking the
chopper effect.
original
There's
roof
another plugin
design,
that I'm using. So
given I'm using
just
different
does that, takes the
blocks.
incoming sound and automates the volume basically. Brings the volume up and down based on the settings that you want and just cuts it. And that little beep that we heard before, that's from Plug Chip Sounds. I mentioned Omnisphere before, that I'm using really heavily on the entire soundtrack, but also Plug Chip Sounds is a library from Plug that basically what they did is sample old chips from, you know, Game Boys, Super NES, whatever you can imagine, you know, Mega Drive, stuff like that, Spectrums, and they've sampled a lot of the sounds, the from the generators, also some preset sounds like coin drops or whatever jumps, some of the drums that they had, and basically whenever I wanted to have this chiptune color over the music, I just used Plug. It's a really nice and really deep plugin. If you want to go into it, you can really create quite authentic stuff with it. I know that, you know, maybe some purists out there will say, if you want to do chiptunes, open up a tracker and do it properly. Okay,
Maybe I'll drop that
I'm
back down
totally
one.
for that, but there are other ways. I can have it in an environment that gives me the opportunity to use it in other ways than what they were originally used. Why not? That was Tropic of Cancer, and we're moving into Aurora Borealis. This is the only track that the title was there before the music. I thought, okay, I'm doing all these tracks about weather phenomena, rain, atmospheric phenomena. I really want to have something that is called Aurora Borealis.
Yeah, I think that's good. Okay.
If you guys don't know what it is, by the way, you should Google it and check out some pictures.
And I need to go get a
So I
lot
thought,
of
okay,
that stuff.
I need a really atmospheric
from-
track, even more ambient
That
than
we're looking at, like,
Risk of Rain, the first one.
easily 10
And I
stacks,
wasn't
26,
really sure
that
if
stuff.
we are going to be able to use it in the game
I need some
because of
plants.
its atmosphere and stuff, but still I thought, okay, I want to do it. Even if it gets rejected, I'm just gonna put it in
Okay.
the soundtrack. And this is what I came up with. This little snare is on 6/8.
I don't think. Yeah, I think this is a good place to stop.
And now we
The-
go into 6/8.
the majority of the
This has
structure
been
is done.
paired, basically, from
It's
the
11
snare
o'clock,
and the cymbal
starting to feel
playing
tired.
before. But it's not really noticeable because the harmony that changes is sort of
If you actually made it this far, thank you. Leave a comment.